have been able to be around each other for a lot, playing the game, learning the game, discussing it. Whereas I'm pretty sure, I'm almost certain, in fact, that with Reunited have players from as far apart as Estonia and Spain. They don't have a team house yet or anything like that, so this could make a difference. Now, I'm not saying it makes all the difference. I know some teams, like Aussie teams, for example, get in a team house and end up hating each other, right? So that's not really the big difference. But yeah, I mean,
they're calling each other mate by the end of it. Ooh.
Yeah, that's not even a bad thing. So it's so funny because I say that to everyone, and even members of the female gender, and they're like, "Why you call me that?" I'm like, "Sorry, it's really not meant to be that way." But point is that living in a gaming house doesn't make the big difference unless you're using that time effectively and constructively. And it looks like the EnVyUs, well, they've either practiced this mode a lot more, or they've just got a lot more cohesion right now. And that's what I think it really is, because his first point takes, EnVyUs, their communication is excellent. They're not frivolously losing plays on the periphery or losing them to Widowmakers. They know they're going to be sitting behind shields and all the rest, and it's worked out really well for them. And you can't say that, oh, when he rid of it means that they can't take the first point, because EnVyUs are having absolutely no problems doing it whatsoever.
No, they were super quick about it, and it looks like something vaguely funny is happening in chat because there are a lot of jars going around, but unfortunately I cannot translate, so apologies for that. 11 seconds left to go. Reunited are going to be defending from Team EnVyUs, who are 2-0 up in this best of 7. Remember, guys, go ahead and check out Matcherino. Contribute to the prize pool as well. The baseline is $300, but all of you can increase it by $1 each by using code KOTW9. But let's get started here on Hollywood. And that's a very, very high defensive line actually being played here from Reunited.
Yeah, it's very, very aggressive. I guess they're just trying to cut EnVyUs off before they can establish a strong position. Coco had to charge in, I think, because his shield was broken, or perhaps he thought he had an opportunity. Internet Hulk getting caught in the trap is definitely a good start for Reunited now. Tailspin can pick people off from up above. He's too high to be hooked in by too easy, but we actually see Unfixed doing some good work here on this Junkrat. He's so good at this part of this map.
This is, well, we can see Junkrat trying again, but like you said, Mitch, ever so slightly too far away to get that hook. Unfixed, he's just staying out of trouble, really. He's got the shield to help him in case he needs that, but he doesn't. Tailspin needs to be a lot more mobile to try and stop getting picked off, because the hit scan here is, especially McCree, can potentially destroy him, and it looks like both sides are going to kill off each other there. Slightly awkward.
Yeah, I mean, only Valetiger dropping there for Reunited is pretty good, but the rest is going to come in, so they might not be expecting such a quick refight. Tailspin gets up in the air, he has a shield on him, he's going around the back, in fact, trying to deal with that teleporter first and foremost, right? The barrage comes out as well, that's got to hurt. Cruz goes down, but so does the teleporter. So, I mean, even if this fight is lost by EnVyUs, they get the TP, they get some % charged up, but they're actually going to keep going for the point.
That's actually quite funny, because as soon as Justice raid from above, that's exactly the direction the flashbang came from, which took Tailspin out. So Valetaja on point there as we continue to try and defend the first point. Really good play from the Giant, actually forcing the ultimate coming out from Coco there. And I don't really mind that too much. The entire Earth Shatter on the one Junkrat. I mean, I guess, okay, it's beneficial, but not exactly the highest value ult you've ever seen in your life.
No, now we actually see Reunited holding quite nicely here, and that was Valetaja coming back on his feet after the res being laid down by Mort. He's already got himself 12% of the way through as well, so being able to heal up these beleaguered colleagues is definitely going to be a bonus for him, and this is 3 minutes now. No TP is available, so a good fight here might be all that EnVyUs need. We do have the Graviton Surge being come out here as well. It's going to draw everyone together, and Taimu gets up the back to try and fan the hammer, but only Tailspin gets on towards Valetaja so far. Now Taimu's going to challenge the Deadeye, but that point is free so far, and this is all for EnVyUs is taking.
Taimu cancelling the Deadeye there. You can see it's still at 50%. Doesn't look like he's going to need that necessarily. The point 2/3 of the way complete right now. Too easy, nowhere close. Winghaven, absolutely nowhere close. Valetaja in no man's land, and we will have the first point taken. Admittedly, you know, I think was that the 3rd or 4th attempt, Mitch? I wasn't quite counting there, but they had a good defense for a while. Yeah.
Look, I mean, and I like this use of Graviton Surge, right? You don't need Tailspin to have a barrage ready to go, especially when you've got a McCree that can get behind and actually capitalize on the fact that everyone's drawn together. So I thought that was played out quite well, personally, and it was, I don't know who was playing that at the time, actually, but maybe Taimu. Either way, now we're going to see high ground being so important. That's why Tailspin and Chips High End are going to be probably the deadliest combo on this map right now. Of course, Chips is an incredibly good Mercy, and Tailspin, we know what he can do on this Pharah. but they both get taken down as Too Easy also gets his opposite number.
Oh, and we were looking at the battle. Unfortunately, I switched off Too Easy to take a look at Internet Hulk. Literally, as Too Easy managed to get the kill there on Taimu, but you managed to see that in the kill feed. And as long as Reunited are able to hold this high ground, they're going to be in a fantastic position in the middle. Let me go ahead and zoom out and give you guys a bit of an overview. You can see, compared to the first point, there's an awful lot of high ground to cover, and more importantly, the high ground is covered by a lot of the buildings. So there's no clear line of sight absolutely everywhere, and that's why it's so important here, and that's why Taimu, who unfortunately dies at the very start of this engagement, needs to make it part of his mission to knock Reunited off the top, and Reunited at the moment with a very good advantage here.
Yeah, Too Easy with an excellent interrupt on Tailspin there, just as he was starting to channel the barrage. And that payload, though, is still making some decent progress. And now we need to see the contest, but that's exactly what Coco wanted. He lays down the Earth Shatter. Cruz now is going to, well, have to get out of here. Is this going to be an attacking sound barrier used just to keep EnVyUs a little bit healthier? And they should be able to clear Reunited off this point now. Unfixed, as the parting gift to Taimu, manages to get rid of him. But now I think it's just Cruz that's keeping this payload immobile. But he won't be up for much longer. He drops, and we have 3 EnVyUs players able to push forward.
Now that was interesting because at the start of that engagement, Mitch, we actually had the entirety of Reunited more or less on the high ground shooting down. So what changed with the way EnVyUs approached that fight that allowed them from the preliminary low ground position to take charge and win with basically still 5 players left standing?
It was actually the low ground fight that was most important. Coco actually went forward and got the Earth Shatter, which was an important start, and that left Tailspin free from the ground troops to actually harass Too Easy. So having him off the map early on in that fight was huge.
Right, and now we have another fight coming on, and this is basically the battle for being able to complete the second point here, and instant res coming out now on the part of Reunited, of EnVyUs rather, and Tailspin using the barrage, managing to pick off Winghaven, so no more shields for Reunited in this fight, but everyone's running around everywhere anyway. It's a little bit of a melee. Unfixed getting the kill on Reaper, and the dust is starting to settle because we have 3 players dead for EnVyUs and 0 dead for Reunited.
It was really interesting, actually. Too Easy, I have to give it to him, played it really well. He uses his shield in midair while he's at about the same height as Tailspin. So that shield actually activates before it hits the ground. So it actually activates in midair and forms a globe. That actually blocked a lot of Tailspin's barrage coming through and caused Tailspin to damage himself to lethal, where he just got picked off by a stray shot. Very clever play here, but we'll see if EnVyUs can come back through. Only Taimu has ultimate, though.
Oh, and there, speaking of only Taimu has ultimate, Taimu uses ultimate as well. Doesn't manage to kill anyone that time around. Still trying to move in to do a little bit of damage. The rest of the team there tanking out front. And Taimu might actually have a good chance here to flash and fan someone. Tries to get Lucio, doesn't get close enough. And there's the sound barrier coming out on the half of Reunited. A lot of health available. Unfixed with Deadeye as well. I'm looking to watch him once he gets out of the house if he finds 2 of 3 potential easy kills.
Chips is going to res this one out and actually get 3 up with that, which was super important because that was how the fight was started. Now there's no sound barrier available for Reunited. They might have used it all a little bit too early on. But we'll have to see what is going to happen in the air as Tailspin being harassed by Too Easy needs to get that damage done. Coco on the ground doing good work. Valutaja falls, but Tailspin still being focused now as he gets into midair. And now here comes the barrage as well. This is very, very important. Great shield from Internet Hulk on towards him. Actually, no big kills coming from it, but Tailspin now capitalizing the Graviton Surge. And this should be a 1 fight for EnVyUs easily.
Yeah, die coming out to try and stop there, exactly. And still plenty of bodies on the ground for both sides there. Too Easy at the moment, actually trying his best to hold until Mercy gets back. And there's the res coming out on the part of Reunited. So it's 5v6 at the moment, still anybody's fight. Tailspin, they're doing so much damage. And I get the feeling that Unfixed maybe waited a little bit too long to use his Death Blossom, because he ended up using it defensively right in the middle of Graviton Surge. Not exactly the place you want to be doing that for Reaper.
No, not at all. And you can see here now as well, despite that res, and good on Mort for charging that up so quickly. Despite that res, Coco had good control of the ground again. He had another Earth Shatter, he followed up with a Fire Strike, and then he dealt with Winghaven on his own there. Really great work from him. He's playing such a good Reinhardt this game, and we have at the second point, took a while, and you see how long these fights are dragging out.
Yeah, the fights are dragging up, but they're not necessarily seesawing backwards and forwards, which is something you tend to see between a lot of the top teams. But EnVyUs, I think you rightly pointed out earlier on the previous map, they just have that cohesion about them that allows them to know exactly how long to stall till their teammates are back, that allows them to know exactly when to stall and when to time their ultimates to be used together. And at the moment, they're all just playing hive mind, basically, is what they're doing right now, really.
It's working for them, but we're going to see double sound barriers being used now, so it's anyone's fight. But Internet Hulk and Timey were trying to keep the damage going, but Too Easy kept them busy for a little while. However, not going to stop them, though, from taking down the rest of Reunited, as Winghaven's Earth Shadow not really going to be amounting to very much, as Tailspin and Coco can turn it back around, and now back up in the air is Tailspin, still healthy, going to just harass Cruz off this point, take him down, but this spawn is quite close for Reunited here. The payload will get a little bit closer, but they'll be ready to fight again as they get around this L-End.
Unfixed is actually moving on to his own Pharah now as well, so he's looking to go ahead and combat some of that DPS with a couple of Area of Effect rocket blasts of his own. Not entirely unnecessary there, because he does have to stop these guys from coming out into the open air. Once they do, even though Reunited are able to move out, there are just more places for EnVyUs to hide, and of course that makes Pharah infinitely less effective. Balutaja with Deadeye looking to try and sneak behind the enemy, but wasn't quite able to do so. Tailspin, I have to say, once again, is doing so much damage, is doing a great job of sitting behind his teammates as well.
Yeah, he actually got rezzed here, and now he's going to be using that barrage. It was a one-man res. That's all from Chips, because Tailspin was close to his ultimate, and you can see what it was able to do. It opened up so much ground, and now an attempt there as well from Reunited to hold on. But here come the Divas. Only going to be one, of course, one hero limit. Not even going to get to the point as EnVyUs finish it.
Very, very nice, and EnVyUs there, crucially, pushed through every time Reunited thought about changing up their composition to defend at every single point, and that's probably bought them an extra minute and a half on the map in total.
It was quite huge as well. This is the res. Now, this was just for Tailspin. One-man res can work if that person is going to be impactful. Just gets the shots in, gets it done, and then he can pop up and follow up with a barrage as well if he's being threatened. So, really well played. I mean, good communication between Tailspin and Chips to say, hey, I know you want to res 4 people and get your play of the game, but I'm close to ultimate. We can end it now. Get me back on my feet. Yeah,
he actually forced the res coming out from Reunited as well. As soon as that happened, killed off, I think it was Winghaven instantaneously, so post-res, which meant there was no way he's participating into the fight, and then still had Rocket Barrage available. So just really, really solid stuff coming out of him there, and that you need a lot of faith in your teammates to say, are you sure you want to one-man res this? Is this really the right thing to do? Okay, then. And they need to be able to repay you in kind straight away.
It does happen as well. I mean, I was quite critical of it when I first started casting teams that were relying on Mercy mass res, of course, because it kind of seems stupid if you res one person and then you both die. But in the case there as well, Tailspin, even before he had his barrage ready, he hit 3 direct rocket hits, got 2 kills, and then got up in the air, right? So, yeah. I mean, you can definitely see how it's justified in just resing that one guy when he is the centerpiece of your team, and you know the rest are, I guess, mostly supportive or tanky heroes. So that was really well played, and now we're going to have to see something pretty nice from Reunited. We're going to need to see them put together a decent attack, which, to be fair, we just haven't so far.
In 9 minutes and 9 seconds to beat, I think. Oh, hang on a second. Let's go ahead and update that on the scoreboard as well as we take a look at the defending team this time around. Harry Hook pushing everyone around with Lucio, and especially important for Internet Hulk, of course, because the sooner you get those sentries down, the sooner you're able to get all 6 available and in the enemy's half of the map. And do we think that EnVyUs are going to be taking a very high defensive line similarly to what Reunited did at the start of that last map? Because it kind of worked well for Reunited, but only for like, 10-12 seconds, nothing crazy.
Well, it doesn't make much sense for them to do it, John, because when you're playing with the Junkrat, you actually want to use the arch as much as you possibly can. So, I mean, if you want to do that, then your Junkrat might still be setting up or still just be dicking around in the back. So, no, I don't necessarily think that's necessary, especially with this team where you've got, I mean, Taimu obviously long range. For him to be too far forward and die early would be catastrophic in this case when there's obviously no teleporter ready yet at this early stage of the game. So we'll see. Hopefully they disengage and back off, get some good damage, and see what they do.
Alright, sneaking out of the side here is Reunited. Too Easy leading the charge on Zarya. Spots a sentry turret, kills it off very, very quickly indeed. And I expect EnVyUs to sort of move back very, very shortly. They don't want to get Reinhardt caught off guard. Oh, and the shield's going down just for a second there. Tailspin trying to do that good damage. Oh my goodness, that was big!
Yeah, I mean, you deny the Reinhardt the ability to defend his team when you knock him up in the air with that remote mine. So Tailspin timed that really nicely. And we saw Winghaven couldn't protect the rest of his team, who were then getting hammered by other grenades and stuff like that. And that's what you want to do. It's a pretty basic tactic, I guess, but super important to disrupt that Reinhardt and move him out the way.
And now we're looking at Unfixed. Is there going to be an alternate way to move in? Oh, never mind, actually. Lucio and a couple of dozen Zarya's shields are going to do that for him. Here comes Unfixed from up above, catching people by surprise. Taimu gets taken out very early on in the fight. And there's a lot of squishy heroes here, not behind Reinhardt. She managed to get a couple of good shots off on Harry Hook there on McCree, too. but at the moment, not actually landing those second, third, and fourth kills that he wants so badly. Too Easy still going strong with shields, actually shielding Reinhardt on the front lines, and Winghaven actually surviving very, very well. Oh, don't let me jinx it. I did just jinx it.
Yeah, I mean, the TP... I mean, here's the thing, the teleporter went up midway through that fight. I think it eventually did get destroyed, but it brought enough reinforcements, maybe even just the one here for EnVyUs to hold on. But here's the Graviton Surge being used, and Coco's shield is healthy enough to sustain through that damage now. So we're going to see Reunited be turned back, pushed away.
So what happened there?
Hulk is halfway to another teleporter as well.
Unfixed, unfortunately, died with Barrage available, and he died about a quarter of a second before, I think, Too Easy unleashed Graviton Surge. I feel like that was a wombo combo incoming that didn't quite get pulled off. Oh!
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice, but that's what happens as well. When you're playing against Taimu and you're playing Pharah, you best get up early in the morning if you're going to avoid his shots. I'm sorry, but there's not much other way around it. So, I mean, that barrage is still available here, and it's not all bad, and there's a bit of sound barrier being used a little bit early here. Winghaven and Velutage actually get picked off, so that's a wasted sound barrier. It's all decayed now, and now the res comes in. We need to see some aggression here come out of Reunited, because they're just jockeying back and forth now, and this is going to be devastating for them. We saw the Riptide come in, didn't actually claim a kill, but the damage is important, and look at Harry Hook and Coco pushing back. They're strong-arming Reunited off this point.
I have to say, on a completely unrelated note, ooh, actually, as Harry Hook gets one to the face from Unfixed, I think that was actually the first time I saw two McCrees, Deadeye, but facing each other on the same bit of road. That's the first time we've actually seen a duel.
An actual quick draw, I know. I mean, with the tumbleweed goes past, but we never actually see a proper duel.
And unfortunately, both were behind Reinhardt's shield, so, you know, a little bit anticlimactic there. Oh my god, Winghaven just got taken to the cleaners, but there is the massive res. And res actually from both sides, so it's a 6v6 all-out brawl. Velutage getting taken out very early on. Winghaven still manages to have his Earth Shatter available. Unfixed with his ultimate, able to take out Taimu early on in that engagement. Harry Hook now with a Deadeye available in about 3 seconds time, but is he going to be able to come in and swoop a kill? It doesn't look like, oh, wow, he might not need it at that point, and he gets taken out finally by Winghaven and his ult. Ooh, and he goes flying across the floor as well. It's an all-out brawl on the point.
Yeah, and the TP is up behind the point, by the way, and they actually moved the location. Internet Hulk went for a different spot this time, so it wouldn't be so predictably picked off. The res came in at a really good time for EnVyUs there as well, and Harry Hawk actually managed to avoid getting sucked into the Graviton Surge that Too Easy tried to use responsively, so anyone who got res got pulled in, and he stayed alive for a good 15 seconds and got 2 kills. He actually killed Unfixed there before he got knocked up against the wall with the Earth Shatter. So this is super good stuff from EnVyUs, and now we're going to have another fight as Reunited are going to start to get desperate. And Value going to use Deadeye.
Oh, and that's another potential duel. No, not quite, unfortunately. Too Easy up top. Oh, and on very low health, but managing to shield himself back up. That was potentially crucial. Velutage now coming in and getting his revenge on Unfixed. So that's going to be excellent stuff coming out of him there. Winghaven's actually just gone down as well, so that's the only tank actually available right now is Too Easy, and he's actually ducking back out of the fight. This really isn't a good amount of sustain, I guess, coming out of Reunited.
Yeah, I mean, Mort needs to charge that ultimate up real quick. This is going to be the last decent push without a res that Reunited are going to have. Chips has his ult ready to go, and there's also an Earth Shatter available for Coco. So, I mean, intuitive use to that is just going to be an auto-win at this stage. We'll have to see now. Of course, there's Velutage, gets Harry Hook, and now he's going to come towards the point. It's a flashbang on towards Coco as well, who can't swing for the fence quickly enough. Now, there should be a res forthcoming if Chips hadn't died so early on.
Yeah.
Get rid of the Mercy and win the fight.
We were watching that. Unfix actually picked off Chips high and very early on. It was a mid-air shot as well against Mercy. Just beautiful targeting there, and that's going to allow him to hopefully get a lot of damage done. He goes down though. Winghaven's still in the thick of the fight. He's taken out Internet Hulk and Coco, and now Too Easy coming in with the Graviton Surge. Are we going to see some DPS follow-up? We need to see some. 2.5 seconds remaining. He gets picked off by Harry Hook, and I'm not sure this is going to be enough. Tailspin now on the point with Junkrat. So much DPS coming down, and we have a hold.
Yep, another teleporter was used in that last fight. Internet Hulk switched the location back to behind the cafe building, and this is Chips getting the res as well, which was pretty important. If you notice that last fight, Chips actually got picked off early, but managed to get on his feet, and there was a TP ready for him. Well, this is actually the last fight here. So he walks back, gets there in time, gets a 3-man res, keeps Tailspin alive through this Graviton Surge. Look at that. He might die for it, but he kept the Junkrat going, who did 40% of the team's damage. So you know how important that is. But again, I've got to say, Internet Hulk did a really good job of charging his ultimate up, right?
Sure.
You had 3 teleporters available there to his team. That's a lot. And also means that he's using his right-click quite effectively to get people as they try and push through. And that's another map win here for EnVyUs. This is going to be a landslide.
This is I straight up wasn't expecting